And we're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to this special Handy Quilter Live today. Welcome to our Quilting Bee. I'm Kim Sandberg. I'm the education manager here at Handy Quilter, and today I have a very special guest, my good friend Garla Huntsman. I'm so excited to have her here quilting with me.
And I'm a handy quilter enthusiast.
Yes, I was going to say, Garla has the best title. She's our handy quilter enthusiast.
Yes.
Garla, how long have you been long arming?
1 year at the end of the month.
So Garla has been coming in even before then and long arming with us. She helped out at Academy the last couple of years and has definitely fallen in love. But you're a longtime quilter, right? A piecer.
10 years.
10 years, exactly.
Yeah, almost 11 years I've been piecing quilts.
So quilting, a long time. Garla's been doing it for forever. And she finally took the plunge last year and decided to get that long arm. And you've just loved it. How many quilts have you finished in the last year?
Probably over 130. Oh my gosh. But at the end of the year, and most of those are mine, I only do a few for my friends.
Yeah.
When my year end comes up, I'm going to take all my quilts, tabulate them at 2 cents a square inch, and show my husband how much money he saved by buying me a long arm instead of sending everything out to the long arm friend.
Exactly. Yes. Show him, look, we're getting a good return on our investment here.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Oh, but the truth is the joy.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best part.
There is so much joy having a long arm in your home.
I know, being able to finish the quilts completely from start to finish. Because you're like me. I think we're both people that we really love the entire process of making quilts. I love every single step of the way.
Yes. And the labels on the back of my quilts would say pieced by Garla. I did it in this town, and then this person long armed it. Now it's all me.
Exactly. I love that. I absolutely love that. So for our live today, we've got a couple of things that we're doing. Number one, we have got some really fantastic giveaways. So we did a really awesome thing. This is the first time we've done it this year at Houston. So the big Houston Quilt Festival just finished up. And we had a special sign up there where people could give us information. They could sign up to enter a drawing to win a Moxie and a Stitch 310. So a Moxie is one of our long arms, and that is going to include a frame. And then the Stitch 310 is one of our sewing machines, one of our domestic sewing machines. It's an awesome sewing machine.
Right.
It's a small one. We'll show it to you a little bit later on, but it has a hard cover that comes with a little table. So we're so excited to do these giveaways. Giveaways are my absolute favorite. So that's purpose number one for the lives today. And Garla and I are doing the whole day together. It's going to be so much fun. And then purpose number two is we are going to be just custom quilting a quilt, because this is a question that Garla has.
Yes, I need to go to the next step. It's time for me to move on from edge to edge and start custom quilting. So to be real honest, my free motion skills are still weak. I'm working on it. I'm practicing.
Yeah,
but it's coming. So I want to do a lot of Pro Stitcher today to see how I can make a quilt pop.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So really today, and this is where we came up with the idea for this. Garla's got this absolutely gorgeous quilt right here. The pattern is by Coach House Designs, and it's called Honey to the Soul. It's absolutely a beautiful design, and it utilizes a pattern. So you guys can see some of the beautiful blocks in here that are a panel. It utilizes a panel. So it's a perfect quilt for custom quilting, because you did spend a lot of time piecing this. I mean, there's some pretty intricate blocks here, and there's a lot of great space in here to do some really fun custom quilting. So we're going to be dipping into that. And as we were looking at this, we were trying to come up with a fun, catchy title for the live today. And I was like, this is going to be like an old-fashioned quilting bee, where a couple of friends get together to finish a quilt. So we're so excited that you're joining us for the quilting bee. So a couple of items of business right up front to take care of. First of all, I just want to remind everybody that we have extended our Houston special promos. So if you have been thinking about potentially purchasing a machine, right now is the time. Houston is always our very best prices of the year. So if you have questions about that, reach out to your local retailer, or you can go online to handyquilter.com and you can see what kind of specials we've got there. So be sure and check that out first. Then In addition to doing the big giveaway this afternoon for the Moxie and for the Stitch 310, we're also going to be giving away a highlight, which is this light up here that goes over a machine. And in order to enter to win that one, we're actually going to be giving that away in about an hour, I think, is when we're going to be doing that.
The star of the show.
Yeah. What you need to do is comment hashtag HQB, and it's HQBEE. So think like quilting bee. Okay, to win that highlight. So be sure and comment with that. And then we also, remember, you have to be sure and put that hashtag in there. Hashtag, so # HQB.
No space.
No space. And then we are also want to know where you guys are watching from. I think this is one of the things that's the most fun. I always go back after lives and I look at the comments and see where people are watching from. And we usually have people watching from all over the world, which is really, really fun. So today you're joining us for this special quilting bee. So I think that kind of takes care of our items of business. I think we've got everything there. We've got Brianne and Lily and Heidi in the room here on the other side of the camera, keeping us rolling today. And they'll be occasionally chiming in. You guys might hear some voices, disembodied voices. It's going to be them chiming in, reminding us of things or letting us know if you guys have questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started just with what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be going through the idea of custom quilting. So Garla, in a nutshell, what do you consider custom quilting?
Anything besides edge to edge.
Okay. And I would totally agree with you on that one. So for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with what edge to edge means, that means doing the same design from one edge of the quilt all the way over to the other edge of the quilt. And this quilt right here, I love this. Garla collects bee quilts.
Yes.
She makes them and then collects them. I love them. She brought a selection of hers here. But this one is a great example. And this quilt is really about the fabric. And so edge to edge design is really great because it just makes it pop and it looks beautiful. But you want something more custom for this because of the amount of time you spent piecing. I mean, just looking at these two quilts side by side, you can see the difference. And this pattern, because I know we're going to get asked, is called
Amy Smart Craftsman.
Exactly. So you guys can find this. Amy Smart is actually a local designer that lives here in Utah, quilting pattern designer.
Yeah.
We've actually had her in and talked to her. Amy's fantastic. And I know that she's under Diary of a Quilter is where you can find it. So that quilt pattern is called Craftsman. And I have made this one and it goes together really fast.
It's quick and it's versatile because I added some embroidered words.
Love it.
Added it in. And then instead of having the 3 squares, I just took one section and put the embroidered words in there.
I love that. I love that.
So it's versatile.
It's very versatile. And it's such a fun pattern to do when you've got fun fabric like this that you want to show up because you're not cutting the fabric too small. You get to really enjoy the pattern. So,
yes.
Okay. So great quilt for edge to edge, but we want to focus on the custom today. And originally I was like, well, Garla, bring your quilt in and we'll quilt it together. And you were like,
I'm like, I've been here before when I did my bag class and we had the bags on the long arm and we stopped right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then I took it home and tried to match it up, which I did. Actually, it turned out pretty good, but I still thought, wouldn't it be fun if I made a mock quilt and we get on there with different thread colors and we try different patterns?
I love it.
And so we're going to audition what we want to do on the mock quilt. And then I can take this one back home and do it all myself and put my little name on the back. Garla did this one.
Exactly.
But this is going to be great.
I love it. It is. It's going to be so much fun. Okay, so let's start off with one of the things you came to with me was a couple of quilts that you have done custom quilting on, but you're not exactly 100% pleased with the results. So let's grab those quilts and take a look. So the first one is a red and silver quilt. And this is a beautiful quilt. It's an absolutely beautiful quilt. And you did a beautiful job quilting this. I remember you brought this into the studio last year.
I did.
And we went through and quilted it and custom. So you did one block here. You did a block here.
On
you
the
did
diamond.
the second. You did the separate corners. And then you also did the border.
And the corners.
And I think it's gorgeous. But tell me, I know that there's some things that you wish it looked a little different. What are some of the things that you feel like it's maybe lacking? And I just a little caveat here. Normally, you guys, I want you to know that I always have a really hard time picking apart a quilt and saying, oh, this is what we don't like about it. But what we're doing is an exercise now to help us understand what is the effect she's really looking for. Sometimes it's easier to point out what you don't like about something than to be like, this is what I really like. So we're gonna point out some things that she doesn't like. It doesn't mean that we're not happy with how this quilt turned out. But what is this quilt lacking for you?
Well, first of all, I'm really tickled the way it turned out.
It's beautiful.
I learned how to do some border skews. I learned how to get the corner in perfect. I turned a block on a diamond. I learned that. I got it in perfect. So the practice was fabulous. But the problem is all the dimensions are all the same.
Yeah.
Everything is curves. And so when I got it done, I thought, I could have just edge to edge this one with some curvy pattern, and it would have probably looked about the same. And then I thought, well, maybe I should have changed the thread, put some pop in the corners. That might have helped a little bit. But it was some scrap fabric. So these fabric lines are from Robert Kaufman and Hoffman, both, and they put out the silver and red and black every year. And often they put out a panel that you can use too. So I still have it in my closet. So I'm still pleased with the quilt and didn't give it away immediately.
Which I love. So, okay. So I think some of the takeaway we've got from this here, because we're going to kind of build on this a little bit, is that there's no change in density of the pattern. And so that's where you're coming across and saying you feel like it looks like an edge to edge. But I mean, when you look at it close up, you can clearly see that you place blocks. I actually would say that this is a really great type of quilt to do your first custom quilting on, whether you're doing pro stitcher or you're a free motion quilter, because these are highly patterned. They're pretty detailed fabrics. So the quilting doesn't show a lot. In some ways, that almost gives you a little bit of freedom, because it's going to hide any mistakes or imperfections that you don't like. And as you mentioned, you learned a lot of skills on this. You really did, that are going to help you down the road with more custom quilting. So I think it's successful, but it didn't have quite the pop you wanted it to. So let's move on to the next quilt.
It's a simple quilt, so it was an easy one to do.
And it's a smaller quilt. That is a great type of quilt for your first custom quilting. I would absolutely recommend something like that. Okay, so this is your next quilt, and this is a spring quilt that you have. And this quilt's actually got kind of a fun story. You want to tell us the story behind this? Because this lived in the closet for a while, didn't it? The fabric itself.
So about 11 years ago, I started piecing quilts. And I walked into a quilt store here locally in Utah, and there was a package of fabric, and it didn't have the cover picture of what the quilt looked like, and it was like $35. And I'm a pink girl.
I love it.
Kim's an orange girl. I'm a pink girl. So I saw the fabric, and I thought, oh, I'll buy this. And then I opened up the pattern, and it was total Greek to me.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I do what? And what? And how does this work? And so I put it in a drawer and left it there for 10 years.
Just the unfinished, just the quilt.
I hadn't started.
Kit.
Yes. Okay. So eventually I learned how to find the picture of the quilt, which was kind of distorted. So it wasn't much help anyway. But then I pulled out the pattern. I'm like, oh, piece of cake.
Love it.
I can handle this. So I sewed it up, but you can see it's got a little bit more work in it than this Craftsman up here. So I thought, oh, here's another chance for me to practice my custom skills. So I hunted and hunted and hunted on Pro Stitcher, and I found a pattern for the block in the middle by Mary Beth Crapel. Yes.
One of our longtime national educators. We like to call her the notorious MBK. We love Mary Beth.
MBK. Yep. And I'm going to have Brienne back there. She's going to put all the detail if you want any information on what patterns I use. So I found that. I got a little spot here for the corner. I picked what I thought was an edge to edge, which was not. It's a repeat pattern.
We'll show you guys that. Yeah.
And then a cute pattern for the corners. All of these patterns are included with your Pro Stitcher.
Right, with Pro Stitcher Premium. Exactly. So, okay, so I think that this is absolutely fabulous custom quilting. But once again, I know that you didn't quite achieve the look you wanted. So tell me what are some of the things that you learned from this quilt?
Okay. If you have a pattern that pops up and you have your green dot and your green dot
after you repeat it in Pro Stitcher
in the same end, you know that it's not edge to edge. So even though I had to clip all the strings in between there, I did it. And there's a lot of detail in here. And guess what? You can't even see it. So that was a waste of my time. I do like the way my block pattern fit on my block.
Yeah.
It turned out the way I wanted it to. And for a beginner person, I thought this was really good.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
It matched very well. I do like my border, but it's not really showing up a lot. I do hang this quilt on my step, so you get really close to it, which makes me happy to see this edge. But once again, all the same density. I could have done probably edge to edge and been just as happy.
Okay. So you're definitely looking for tips on how to change the density, how to get designs that make each other pop so that it really gets that custom feel.
Right.
Okay. So those are some good things we learned there. Now, your third quilt that you got here, and this is kind of fun because this is a really small project. It's a table runner that you did. It's a watermelon table runner, and it is adorable. And this one you're pretty darn happy with because you took some of the principles you learned from those other quilts, and you were let's get it the right way.
Sorry.
And you did it. Now, first of all, just a caveat for everybody, Garla, these trim pieces, including like the rickrack, the buttons, she left all of that off while she was long arming it, and then she put those on after it was quilted. So just know that she wasn't trying to quilt around that. That's actually a great tip to be able to do that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what makes you really happy about this one.
I love this one. This one makes me really happy. So I've got a pebble pattern up here that comes from Pro Stitcher background mixers that you can buy as on your membership plan. I've got some stippling going on here. On the bottom, I did some little blocks.
You did a cute little sashing design there.
The loops there. This one is like a swirly girl on the bottom. And then I just put my patterns, the size in there, and I just stitched out different things. And I'm pretty happy because this is a grid. This is a swirl. These are some lines. The only problem I have with this one is there's a lot of overstitching. So I need to learn better. I mean, it doesn't show up bad because it's a watermelon and those are lines anyway. But on this quilt that we're doing today, I don't want my Amara to go up and down and up and down and up and down on any place.
Exactly.
And I need to learn how to do that.
Okay. So we're gonna definitely address that, cropping edges, doing those things. One of the things that really makes this quilt successful is that you used designs that are at different scales, different densities, and then you use curvy designs next to straight line designs. That's one of those tricks that really makes custom quilting pop and look just so impressive. Also, not using too many designs or using designs that are close to each other. You don't have to use 17 different designs in a quilt to achieve a really awesome custom look.
Right.
As a matter of fact, using the same type of maybe just 3 or 4 designs, but using them at different scales can really make things pop. And it really makes it look put together. So,
and then I changed the thread color.
Yes.
I put red here on the watermelon and then white on the background.
I love it. I think it's so cute. So that is fantastic.
Yes.
I love kind of seeing your journey there too across custom quilting. So one of the things that I did when Garla came in and spent a day with me last week, and we sat down and went through all this stuff, and I said, Garla, can you pull a quilt from the building? So we have tons of quilts hanging everywhere here. I said, can you pull a quilt from the building and show me so that I understand the type of look you're looking to achieve? So we pulled this quilt right here. And this is here. Let's go like this. You grab that edge there. This is a quilt that was done recently by one of our national educators,
Karen Woolley.
It's Karen Woolley. Karen Woolley lives on Long Island, New York. And this is an absolutely fantastic example of custom quilting. And this is the type of look that you're going for with custom quilting. And so let's talk about some of the elements that really makes this pop. One of the big things that Karen did here is you notice that the scale of her designs really differs. So for example, up here in her border, she's actually got a pretty big design next to a curved design. And while these two have similar density, because this is a straight line design and this is a curved line design, you have that juxtaposition of the two designs and it makes it pop. She also uses a lot of these channels. You'll notice that there's little channels, and she varies the size of those channels. It really sets off those designs and makes them pop. It gives your eye a place to rest, so that you see that. And she did bigger scale design here, smaller scale design here, and also really did the intricate quilting here in the white. When you have a white background, that custom quilting is just going to pop and be beautiful. And you have a lot of that in this quilt. We've got a lot of real estate like that, so we're very excited about that. What are some of the other things that you really like about this quilt that really pops for you, that you're looking for?
Well, I like how your eye sees the star here in the middle because she's done the tight and then she's done the looser density in the center.
Okay.
I like how we've got lines and curves. We've got geometric and the curves that counteract and make you love what you see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is definitely a blend of free motion, rulers, and Pro Stitcher, which we're going to be using all of those today. I really want to show. I know that Garla, like one of her requests was that we do here. I'm going to hand this to her. When she came in initially, she's like, I don't want to do any free motion. And I was like, well, we'll see about that. No, I said, okay, you know what? I can show you ways to achieve most of these with just Pro Stitcher, but I'm going to sneak in some free motion.
Well, and that'll give me courage
yes.
to keep learning because it'll be something that I want to achieve.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's going to help push you. And then I also want to show everybody that it's not just Pro Stitcher that you can custom quilt with. You can absolutely use all of the tools. I like to do, as Christina calls it, confetti quilting. You use all the techniques. You use whatever technique is the best for achieving the look that you want. And pretty much everything that I do, even the Pro Stitcher stuff, you could still do with free motion. I just really want to stress that. You can print out a stencil. A lot of these designs that we're going to show you today are available at prostitcher.com, and you can actually purchase them, and they come with a printable PDF. So if you want to use one of these designs, but you're a free motion quilter, go and purchase the design. You can print that PDF. You can scale it to whatever size you want, and you can turn it into a stencil, and then you'll be able to use it. So don't feel limited if a Pro Stitcher technique is something that's really appealing to you. Trust me, there's a way to do it with free motion. So, okay. So what I want to do is I wanted to share with Garla and with all of you something that we've got. And we have this handout, this PDF available. We can, we'll have it available. I'm getting the thumbs up from Brianne back there. She'll put it in the comments. She's going to email it out afterwards. So what you need to do is join the Handy Quilter newsletter. So if you want to do that, go to handyquilter.com. And if you scroll down through the page, there's a place that says sign up for the newsletter. If you're already signed up for our newsletter, you are good to go. But we're going to send this out to you. So this is a class that Christina and I originally developed, I don't know, a long time ago. And trust me, we're not the ones that originally came up with this idea. I just want to stress that. But we call this, how do I quilt it? Because that's always the question, right?
Yes,
how do I quilt this thing that I'm working on? So Garla and I are going to sit down. Grab your chair there. We're going to be standing and sitting, because we've got kind of a long day ahead of us at the quilting frame. This is actually a recommendation I would make for anybody who's going to be spending a whole day at the quilting frame. Make sure that you've got something to sit on and vary that throughout the day. And then you're not as tired at the end of the day. Okay, so we're going to go through this. And remember, this is the quilt we're talking about. So I'm going to ask Garla the questions, and you're going to answer them for me. And this is going to help us figure out how we want to quilt this quilt. Okay, so first question is, what is the purpose of this quilt? How is it going to be used?
All right. If you swing over, you can see my ladder over here.
Yes.
I'm a bee quilt collector.
Yes.
Brings me a lot of happiness. I'm a gardener. I love the bees in my yard. I've always loved yellow. So it's going to be a decorative quilt.
Okay.
In fact, in my sewing room, I have a big quilt rack, beautiful, and I will hang it in there probably for a couple months of the year, and then it'll probably end up in a ladder. But it will never be on a bed.
Okay.
It's not going to be a lap quilt. It's always going to be decorative.
It is made
until I die.
To be
then
displayed.
somebody will probably be sleeping under it.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. I love that. Okay. So we know what it's going to be used for. So what is your focus for this quilt? Is there anything specific you want to highlight? Is there anything specific you want to hide? Those are things that you can think about when you're choosing how to quilt a quilt.
Okay. Well, like you said earlier, it has a lot of white real estate on this quilt. So it's time for me to really learn how to make the white come alive and highlight the other things in this quilt.
Okay.
This quilt was originally supposed to have a black background, but I decided I wanted to be white to match my other quilts. And there's a flower down here that if I had to do it over again, I would have changed this fabric with a darker color. So if we can make this become a darker,
change pop it more, give it some kind of a border or something, because you're exactly right. This, even though there's a fun print on that, it blends into the background because it has the same background. You have to like actually really look at it to realize that's the top of like a cone flower. Okay. So that's something we want to add focus to.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't want to do anything complicated on the blocks that I've got here. We don't need to cover up any of these panels so much, but how fun would it be to bring some texture to these flowers here and the bees.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Okay. Okay. So we've definitely got some fun things to focus on here, which makes me very excited. Okay. So design style, this is always a question we ask. Is it going to be custom or is it going to be edge stitch? We already know the answer to this one. We're custom all the way.
Yeah.
So then your next question is, what is your time and budget? And this kind of goes both ways. So this is always something to ask. You're quilting this yourself. So the budget is not about how much it's going to cost to have it quilted. Your budget is your time. So what kind of time budget do you have for this quilt?
Well,
whatever it takes.
Okay. So I've heard that they're going to want to see this quilt finished.
Yes, we do. Right?
So it might be at least a week on my quilting frame.
Okay.
Me working on it. And I'm going to go careful and slow.
Yeah.
And methodical.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, custom quilting. I mean, if you're going to take, and especially on something like this where the quilting is really going to pop, it's worth it. And you know, I know for me, like I would look at this quilt and be like, that's probably going to be 10 to 15 hours of quilting at least.
Okay.
Because how much time did you put into the piecing already? At least that much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
So always something to ask yourself. Sometimes the budget is, I've got an hour and a half to get this done. And that's totally fine. And sometimes the budget is, you know, I've got an entire week that I can devote to this quilt and I'll end up spending even 20 or 30 hours on it. It just depends.
I think it depends to who you're giving it to.
Yes. I agree.
Are they quilt worthy to have all that time invested into the quilt? Or are you just going to slap an edge to edge, pump up your stitch length to 10 and get it out the door?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know. And that is always a question. If you're, you know, going back to the purpose of the quilt, if it's a gift and you know, it's a quilt that's going to be used and loved a lot, that's always something to consider. How well is it going to hold up over time? Is it going to be washed a lot? Those are all questions to ask yourself. Okay, so the next question on my list here is, what is your current skill level? And do you want to stick to your comfort zone? And I think we already know the answer to this one. Do you want to stick to your comfort zone or do you want to try something new with this quilt?
We're trying something new.
We are.
And I'm sitting next to Kim. Could anything be better?
This is so fun for me. Okay, what kind of a style do we want for this quilt? This is the next question to ask. So are we matching the design to something traditional, modern, or this is kind of a trick question, is this a themed quilt? I think we all know what the answer is here. It's themed.
I mean, I really think it would be fun to add a quilting design that has bees in it.
I agree.
But not for the entire quilt, but for a portion.
Okay.
It would be fun to have some bees in there.
I think so.
But I would like, again, going back to the quilt that we showed earlier of Karen Woolley's, it really needs some strong texture.
Yes. Yes.
And so maybe more, it's really not a modern look, more maybe a traditional.
Okay.
So
yeah. So traditional, but with a little bit of nod to that theme we got going
in
there.
A whimsical look to it, which is fun.
I agree.
So let's add some whimsical to it.
I agree. Well, and I love that it's got some symmetrical elements to it, but it's also not a traditional, just the same block all the way through. And so we can definitely have some fun with that for sure. Okay, so then the last question to ask is, what kind of fabric is this quilt made out of? Is it a busy print, which is really going to hide the quilting?
Okay.
Or is it solids? And looking at it, there's a lot of solid on there.
Yeah.
So
We're going to have fun.
we're going to have some fun. That's one of the things always to consider. If you are quilting on a busy print, it's going to be harder to see that quilting. If you really want to have a quilt that pops, solids are the way to go. Absolutely.
Right.
And we can play around a little bit with thread, even on a busy print, but it can be a little bit harder to see. So really busy prints are fantastic if you really want to try something new and you're a little afraid of what's going to happen, because that quilting isn't going to show so much. So like with your first couple of custom ones that you did, I think that those were actually really great ones to try custom on, because it gave you a little bit of camouflage to hide something.
Correct.
If it didn't turn out great.
Made a little mistake while learning, no big deal.
Exactly.
But on that green gingham, I should have put a different color on it. Maybe gone even crazy with pink or something.
I know.
Right?
Well, and
Live and learn.
I think it's one of those things. Exactly. Once you've tried that out, you get the courage to be like, you know what, next time I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something different.
Right.
So,
but I don't like to unpick.
No. Oh,
no way.
Nobody got time for that.
I'd start a new quilt first.
I totally agree with you on that one. I don't have time for that. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 essential design elements when it comes to quilting. So we've got thread, we've got batting. Batting is a design element here, and then auditioning the design. So let's talk about thread. And we've actually got, don't we have some baskets of thread? Aren't they over there? Yeah. So we went in the back here. We have a huge selection of thread in the back, and we pulled everything that could possibly be, yes. And we've got a bunch of different threads here. Let's talk about threads for a minute. So we've got, you can use blending threads, which is like this one here, or this one here. These are both micro quilter from Superior Threads. They're 100 weight threads, and these just melt into the fabric. So if we're doing like super dense quilting, this is a really great thread to do. And obviously if we use something like the black, it is really going to show up on the white. Usually with when you're doing really dense quilting, you actually want to use something that is going to blend.
Okay.
So that's an option. Then we've got using a standout thread that is really going to pop. Okay.
Ooh, I love this one.
A thread like this one here, this is Magnifico, and it's a fabulous gold. That is something that's going to pop. Yeah, we've got some other
Magnifico.
This is another Magnifico. We've got some Magnificos
so
we can set here. And then we've also got something like this. This is a yellow variegated. This is called Lava from Superior Threads. I'm not sure if they make this anymore, but it's like Fantastico. It's a 40 weight tri-level polyester, meaning it's a shiny thread. That's something that's really going to pop.
It's got variegated in it as well.
It does. It really does.
That's pretty fun.
A couple of other standout threads that we've got here that we can show people is to use something with some sparkle. So we've got some metallic thread, and then we've got glitter. And these are some that I think I'm going to push you to try on.
We're going to try those for sure.
I really think some fantastic metallic or some of this glitter, and we've got colors here. This one with this little bit of a green could actually be really fun to put in there, because
it would add some character with the gray.
And the thing is, when you're using thread, here's a little tip. So we tend to, when we're auditioning thread, we just lay out the spool of thread on top of the fabric like we've got here. But that's not actually how the thread is going to look on your quilt. So really the thing to do is to take the thread and pull a little bit off and make a little puddle on your fabric. And this is going to be this is probably going to be a little bit hard for you guys to see, but that's actually a better representation of what the thread is going to look like on there. Right. So you can see this one here that I just puddled right there. This is a 100 weight silk. It's a kimono thread. This would actually be absolutely fantastic to use on this background, because it's really going to blend into the fabric, but it's going to give it just that little bit of extra texture.
Yes, it'll add just an enhancing what's already there.
Exactly. So those are some things to look at for thread. The one other thread that I think is always a consideration when we're doing custom quilting is monopoly. And this is a polyester thread.
So scary though. Monopoly.
No, it really isn't. This is this kind of thread.
Okay.
With no color in it.
We can do it.
Exactly. I think that we tend to have a throwback to when this kind of clear thread like this was nylon. And if we ironed it, it melted. And there were all these other things. You guys, this is just polyester thread that doesn't have any color in it.
PTSD gone.
Seriously, it totally is. So don't be afraid of monopoly. And if you're doing a lot of custom and really intricate custom quilting on a quilt, and you've got a lot of different extreme colors like you have here, where you've got white next to black, I could actually quilt across both of those and that thread would not show up. Whereas if I was using black thread and a little bit of it gets on that white, it's not going to stick out. Yeah.
So that's maybe a good thread for beginners as well.
Absolutely. It really is.
Okay.
It really is.
We need to try this one for sure.
Okay. We definitely will.
Okay.
So we'll set that one aside. So be sure to take a look at that. Then let's talk about bobbins for a minute. So bobbins, we always recommend that you match your bobbin color to your top thread, or at least have it be in the same family. So we have, because you guys saw all the different colors we've got here, we've got a selection of super bobs. These are pre-wounds from Superior Threads. And we've got a full range of like all the colors we've got here.
Question.
Okay, so we've got a question about bobbins.
Nope, we got a question about clear thread.
Okay.
Really? You can have clear thread that won't melt?
So the question is, really? You can have clear thread that won't melt? Yes, you guys, this polyester, it's monopoly. It's a monofilament polyester thread. You can iron it. You can put it in the dryer. It doesn't yellow and get brittle. If you have questions about it, go to the Superior Threads website and you can read about this. But you guys, it's fantastic. I've used it on all kinds of things. I buy this by the cone and I go through a couple a year. I use it on everything. Even for a lot of people that I quilt for, I use this on edge to edge when they've got quilts that have like a black and white and red quilt, and they want to do an edge to edge on it. Well, how do you pick a color that isn't going to like totally show on one of those colors? You use monopoly.
Perfect texture making.
It is.
Okay.
It really is. So yes, really you can do that. Okay, so bobbins, even with the monopoly, I would recommend using just a neutralish color that would go with the background of the quilts. And we'll probably end up using like a slightly off-white throughout this entire quilt. It's going to be close enough in color to what we've got. And we're using the M-Class pre-wounds. Okay, we've got another question.
Use the monopoly bobbins.
Okay, question. Can you use the monopoly and bobbins? Yes, you can. I tend to find it's a little bit fiddly to try to wind yourself, but you can. I would recommend actually using a color that's going to blend more with the back of the quilt than using monopoly. I find I have more success with that. Yep. Okay. All right. So any other questions on thread? Just checking here. We're good to go. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is batting. And this is kind of fun. We've got a little experiment that we're going to do today. So one of the things that Garla has pointed out, and she has learned about this last year, is using all the different types of batting and doing things like double batting. So I've got 4 different types of batting here, and we already have loaded here on the frame. We've got 80-20, so it's 80% cotton, 20% polyester.
And it's just a natural.
And yeah, and it's a great one. It's from American Fiber. At loftsupply.com is where we got this from. And then what we've got is some smaller pieces here, and we're going to audition these underneath for options for that second layer of batting. One thing that you can do, especially when you're doing a quilt like you are, where it's going to be hanging on a wall or for display, we want it to be really straight. We want it to hang straight. We want it to hang flat. Doing a double layer of batting actually helps you do this, especially if one of the battings that you use has polyester in it. Polyester tends to be a little bit stiffer. It gives a little more body. It helps it hang a little straighter. So we've got 4 options here that we're going to double up with. So the first one here, this is 100% cotton and it's white.
Yes.
And why would we want a white batting?
Well, if you had a white quilt, you definitely wouldn't want white batting.
Exactly. Because even using like that slightly off-white, especially if you have a white quilt, sometimes it'll show through a little bit. So we have some of this. So we're going to layer on some 100% cotton and see what that looks like. On top of the 80-20.
Yes.
Then the next option we've got, this is 100% polyester, and it's like the super loft. So it's the super squishy stuff. If you want that real look with extra loft with the double batting, but wool is maybe a little bit outside of your price range, this is a great option. The one thing to remember though is natural fibers tend to have less of a memory if they are folded. So for example, like wool, if I have, if this quilt, as you were mentioning, is folded up on your ladder part of the year, and then part of the year you get it out, you spread it out and you hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
This one is going to hold wrinkles for a while longer, 100% polyester. I'd recommend, so this one, when you pull it off the ladder, you probably need to steam it or iron it, or even just throw it in the dryer with like a damp rag or something like
Sure.
that, to kind of get those wrinkles out of it. It's going to hold on to it a little bit longer. That is one advantage to using wool or cotton. It doesn't have that memory of the fold. It doesn't hold that wrinkle for as long. Okay, we've got another question.
Do you need to be worried about anything with a damp cloth when you put it in with your quilt?
Okay, the question is, if you're throwing your quilt in the dryer with a damp cloth, do you need to worry about it? Okay, there is a caution there. If your quilt has never been washed, I would be careful about throwing something in there, especially if it has colors like red or something like that.
That'd be scary.
I would recommend making sure that that cloth is clean. Like I said, a rag, just make sure it's clean. Make sure it's clean. Honestly, if it's damp, meaning you just spritz it with water, you don't actually saturate it. Even if your fabric isn't super color fast, you'd probably be just fine. Throw it in, throw a couple tennis balls or dryer balls in there with it to help it bounce around, and it would be just fine. It's just that moist heat that helps release.
Just take your steam iron.
Yep.
I mean, and it comes out quick.
It does. It does. Yeah, just take your iron and don't actually iron it, but just steam about an inch or two above the iron, above the quilt, and you'll just watch those wrinkles relax.
But we like that look, especially
Yes.
our moms.
Yes, they do.
When we
It's
started
true.
using this thin batting, my mom says, that's not going to keep you warm. That's ugly. So when I first got my long arm, I thought, oh, I'm going to put double batting in everything. Oh, no, I'm not. The storage for all my quilts having double batting? No.
And they don't fold and lay flat as well.
Right.
So yeah, but this is a great option if you're going to be doing a wall hanging and you wanted to have that extra loft and you're limited on your budget, or you just have some hanging around. I mean, who doesn't have a bag or two of this hanging around, right?
Right.
Lots of people do. Okay, so another option is wool, and wool is my go-to for my second layer. It just has that extra loft. It's fantastic. I even love wool. Sometimes if I'm doing a quilt that I want to do some custom quilting in and I want it to look really cool, but I am going to use it to snuggle up in because it's one that I've spent enough time. So this is a tip I actually learned from Angela Walters. This was pretty cool. She came to Academy a couple of years ago and I got to do a big interview with her. And she said, did you know that if you use 100% natural fiber batting, so not the polyester, but this 100% cotton, 100% wool, or this one, which is 100% bamboo, if you use any of those by themselves, you can quilt it to death and the quilt will not get stiff. It's actually that polyester in it that starts making it feel really stiff.
Naughty.
So if you want to do custom quilting on everything that you own and you want it to be soft and lovable and squishy and just drapey and all that stuff, use the 100% fibers. So wool is really great. Wool is washable. It's all of those things. It's fantastic. It's also, it just has the quality of the loft that cannot be beat.
You can just see it hanging here.
Yeah.
How beautiful
It is. It really is. It really is. So the double layer, I know for me, personally at home, I buy which this is not going to come as a surprise. I buy batting by the roll. I'm sure you're all shocked. Of course I do. But I do a roll of wool and, you trim off that extra at the bottom and you have plenty left over for smaller projects, things like that. It's amazing how far it will go. So wool, definitely worth the investment. And then our last type of batting here, this is bamboo, and feel how soft it is. Feel how soft it is. Now, bamboo, the wonderful thing about bamboo is the softness, the drapeability. I mean, you can just see if you compare these two, how bamboo drapes. I mean, look at just how it hangs. This hangs kind of like a sheet of paper, which is not bad. This, you can see the drape. So bamboo is really great for drapey, snuggly. I love it for baby quilts. It's antibacterial, antimicrobial. I can't remember exactly which one. It's one of those. And it is, the more you wash it, the softer it gets, which I absolutely love. I just did a quilted coat with my daughter that turned out so cool. We recorded the video and you guys are going to be seeing it. She's been coming home. So she's away at college. She's been coming home over the weekends. She's worn it the last couple of weekends. She's come home. Every weekend she comes home, she washes it and it just keeps getting drapier and softer. And she's already had people on campus asking her where she got her amazing quilted coat from. So we're super excited about it. So we're going to show you the difference on this. The one drawback to bamboo is it doesn't have a lot of loft.
No,
So
it does
it's not necessarily, if you really want the quilting to pop on, to have that extra poof. It's not so great for that.
And we'll
But
see that
we're
as
gonna
we
get to
practice
see
with
that.
these.
Yep, exactly. We've actually got across the top here, we have 4 different blocks, and we're going to quilt them out, and we'll do each of these with a different type of batting so that you guys will be able to see. So, okay, so we've talked about thread and batting.
Yeah, but one other advantage
Mhm.
to double batting.
Mhm.
So when you have 2 layers of batting in between the back of your quilt and the top of your quilt, you have more space for your machine to tension.
Yep.
So double batting is a great beginner tip.
It is. It really is.
It really helps you get your tension correct when you're a new person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't be afraid if I know that the first few times that I double batted, I used 2 layers of the same batting. You don't have to use different types of batting.
Yes.
My go-to has become, I do the 80-20 on the back and I do the wool on the front, but know that you can do any of the combinations. You can double bat something. Even I've seen batting out there where you can buy the batting that is already considered a double bat. So just look for some of those. Okay, we've got another question.
Does double batting make it harder to quilt?
Okay, so the question is, does double batting make it harder to quilt? Overall, I would say no. The one place that you can run into a little bit of just control issues is sometimes when you're using rulers, there's a little extra puff there. But we're going to show you how to baste everything down. And that's one of those tricks that you can do beforehand is you baste everything and it helps control that extra fullness. So it really doesn't make it harder.
The only thing that would be maybe another issue when you do double batting is when you're doing edge to edge and you're trying to match the pattern on the row above. You've got to remember with double batting, your quilt's going to shrink more than just with single batting. In fact, my favorite way to quilt, if I've got a complicated pattern, is like flannel to flannel and have nothing in it, because when I do the next row, it just lines up
perfectly. It's true. You don't have as much draw in when you're not adding in that layer of batting, because it adds that loft to it. And so it just squishes your quilt in a little bit. Your quilt gets a little bit narrower and a little bit shorter when you quilt it. And the more batting you put in there, the loftier the batting is, the more of that effect you're going to have.
But with this custom, we're working with one spot at a time, so we don't have that issue.
No, we don't. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. So there's ways to control it for sure. Yep. Okay, so we've got our batting there. There's different ways to audition designs. Now, I'm just going to talk about these really briefly. So you can use preview paper, which is clear paper that you can put, it's like a clear plastic film that you can put over the top of your quilt. You can use.
And can you buy that at handyquilter.com?
You can buy it at handyquilter.com or at a local retailer, and you can use dry erase markers to draw on it. It's really great, especially when you want to practice designs to scale. Another great way to do it is to take a picture of the quilt. And then we all have our phones. There's apps that you can use where you can actually draw designs over the top of it. I love Christina is one that is just fantastic at this. Doodling. She always has her little doodling and does stuff. Yeah. She sends me texts with pictures and says, hey, what do you think about this? It's a great way to do it because we always all have our phones with us. You take a great picture.
Yes.
You can print a photo of the quilt. Once again, take a picture of it, print it, and then slip it inside a sheet protector.
Yes.
And then you can use those dry erase markers once again to do it. And then the last thing and this is the way that I do most of my auditioning, is take a picture of that quilt and then use Pro Stitcher Designer, which is software that allows you to edit and create digital quilting designs. You can also create stencils and pantographs and all other kinds of fun things with it, all things quilting related. But you can load that design as a backdrop. You can make it the actual size of the quilt, and then you can bring designs in and audition them on top of that photo. So if I'm custom quilting for a client, I know that you and I were talking about that. Often what I will do is in the design process, before I get the approval that I start quilting, I take that picture of the quilt, I load it in Designer, I put some design options on it, and then I save it as a PDF and I send it to the customer, and then they give me the approval on it. Right. So there's lots of cool ways that you can audition those designs.
And Patty Sliney, who we all love.
Oh, yes.
Because she's our Facebook.
Patty's watching.
Oh,
hey,
hi, Patty. She just taught a class.
She did.
On Pro Stitcher very recently. So you can pull that up and watch her do the audition of a
Yes.
quilt
Yep.
on Designer.
Exactly. It's a great tool. It is a fantastic tool to do. Okay. So I have a couple of tips for you. So Garla has got her quilting community. I'm part of her quilting
That's
community.
right.
She's part of mine.
And everyone on Facebook are
Exactly.
my quilting community.
Exactly.
I have put several quilts out there and said, hey, which one should I use? Which pattern should I use? And they come back and they're so helpful.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. So I really recommend that you build your own quilting community. I always like to think of custom quilting, doing something like this. Sometimes when I make a quilt, I've got a really clear idea of what I want, but usually I finish the quilt and I'm like, how do I quilt it? So build your own community. You can do that. Join a local guild.
Yes.
Go to the local quilt shop.
Yes.
Have your other friends who are quilters that you can text or have them drop by, do lunch, whatever. Have them look at it. And then of course the online groups. I think it's so right. And you know, don't be afraid to put it out there, especially if you're looking for a challenge to push yourself to try something new, because I don't know about you, but I get in quilting ruts where I've done the same like 6 designs on like the last 6 quilts that I've made. And
because we like it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm comfortable with it and I know exactly how it's going to turn out and it looks great. But when I want to try something new, that's really when I put stuff out there. And online, just like you said, is a fantastic place to do that.
Because we all have pattern paralysis at some time. But sometimes, you know what? When you put a quilt online and you get all those ideas flowing, they're happy to share their ideas. Quilters don't hold back. We share our tips. We share our tricks because we want everyone to be successful.
Exactly. So a couple of tips for success. Number 1, remember, finished is always better than perfect. And that quilt it's like that quilt kit that you had sitting on your shelf for 11 years.
Oh, I'm so happy it's done.
Exactly. So just remember, finished is always better than perfect. And remember, you're the boss of your quilt. Be kind to yourself and be proud when you finish that quilt. Doesn't matter if it's not exactly perfect. I like to call those little imperfections design elements. That's what they are. And remember, there is no quilt police. You get to decide how your quilt is finished. And as long as you or the person you're making it for is happy, you did it the right way.
And you shouldn't be a police for yourself either.
No, you shouldn't.
Yes. Just remember, you're always learning. That's probably one of the best things about purchasing an Amara or any handy quilter machine later in life. My brain is constantly stimulated. I'm constantly learning, and I can see me learning forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's always a new technique to try. There's always something new to do. And that is my last tip. Remember, with custom quilting, slow down and enjoy the process.
Yes.
Custom quilting is not fast.
No.
It is not an edge to edge that you can load it, quilt it, and have it unloaded in under 2 hours and be working on the binding. Custom quilting is about slowing down and enjoying that process of watching that design emerge as you're putting across the quilt. So slow down and enjoy it, which is what we're going to do over the next few hours of this live. We've gotten through the stuff that we had this morning. Garla,
the lecture is over, ladies.
Do you feel like we've spent enough time talking about possible design elements? I know we've got some more stuff as we start quilting, but
yes. And I really appreciate your kindness on my what I called, whoops, that was a fail.
No. I think it's a really great place to start, is to look at past projects you've done, that you look at it and you're like, you know, I really am happy. Like, it's that whole finish is better than perfect.
Yes.
I really am happy that the quilt's done, but I've learned some things from this and I want to figure out how to do it different so that I achieve a different look on the next one.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, we've got another question.
What are the top 3 pieces of advice you would give to someone that's looking at getting a long arm?
Oh, okay. This
advice
is a really,
to get
really
a long
good.
arm.
Yeah. What are the top 3 pieces of advice that I would give somebody who's looking to buy a long arm? Okay. What do you have?
Do it.
Just do it.
Don't wait. I should have bought
agree.
mine 5 years ago. It would have paid for itself.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Number 1, now is always the best time. Just do it.
Yes.
Just do it. Yeah. Number 2, I would definitely look at local support, because your local retailer is so important. It's one of the reasons why we have such a big network. You guys, we currently have over 400 local retailers across the US and Canada. And we want you We do that because we know that having that local support is so important. So I would definitely look at that. And then the third thing I would look at is what machine is going to be the best fit for you. And the best way to figure this out is to call up your local retailer and go in and spend some time using the different machines to figure out whether is a Moxie the right fit for you?
Yeah.
Is an Amara the right fit for you? Is an Infinity the right fit for you? Maybe a stationary machine, not one on the long arm frame, is actually the right one for you. And the only way you're going to find that out is to actually go in and spend a little bit of time on them. So spend some time at your local retailer, or if you happen to have a friend like Garla,
come
who
over.
has, go spend some
Yes.
time. That is one of the best. I think those are my top 3 pieces of advice. Don't wait, do it now. Spend some time getting to know the machine. And I can't even remember what the second thing.
Well,
what did I say?
My favorite thing though is don't be afraid.
Yes.
I was afraid. Handy quilter machines are so user friendly.
They are.
They just flow.
They're not hard to use.
No, the vocabulary of all the steps just flows.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Don't be afraid.
The local support and education, which was the number 2 thing that I talked to you guys about, is very important. And remember, even if your local retailer is a couple hours away, we've got your back. We have over 1,000 videos on the Handy Quilter YouTube channel. It's a great place to start. If you're adding Pro Stitcher to your system, if you go to the Pro Stitcher YouTube channel, we have a full video library there that's got all kinds of great things to get you started. We've got printable PDFs. We do these lives. We've got so many things to help you out. So don't worry. We've got you covered.
Somebody just said, you don't need a couch, put a lawn out there.
Okay, I think that's the best piece of advice we've gotten all day. We just had a comment that said, you don't need a couch, put a long arm there. And you know, there's something to say about that. They say that if you actually spend more time standing than sitting throughout the day, it's better. Although I will admit, I tend to sit when I quilt, but I'm moving around because I'm doing this all the time. So absolutely.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Go ahead and do it now.
And the upgrades come on your machine.
Yep.
And so you stay with the technology. If you have questions, customer service at Handy Quilter is phenomenal. And the national educators will be coming somewhere near you. Go take a class from them, even if you don't have a long arm.
Yeah.
Watch the videos, learn that vocabulary, learn how things function. And then when you finally get one, you're ready to put a quilt on and go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Well, we have finished our prep. We are ready to start quilting, but I'm looking at the time. I think we're getting pretty close to when we were going to be doing the drawing this morning. Is that what we're thinking of doing? So we'll give you guys a couple more minutes. So if you'd like to enter our drawing this morning, we're giving away a highlight, which is this light that's up here above the machine. You'll let us know which type of machine you have, and we'll be sure and send you the one. If you're the lucky winner, we'll send you that. To enter, you need to comment hashtag HQB, and that's BEE, like quilting bee. So hashtag HQB. Should we maybe wait another 10 or 15 minutes? We'll put that up a couple more times, but just a reminder to do that. And then remember, this afternoon, we're going to be taking a break around noon for some lunch, because, you know, you gotta have some food while you're quilting. Quilting isn't quilting without some snacks. We'll take a little break. We'll be back at 1 this afternoon. And then later today, we're going to be giving away a Moxie and a Stitch 310. So be sure and stick around for that too, which is going to be
So
super
exciting.
Okay, well.
And can I just say, once you get one highlight,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to want highlights over your domestic. You're going to want them everywhere.
It's so true. It's so true. I
They're
have them
really
over
versatile.
all the machines in my house because they are absolutely fantastic. Okay, well, let's take a look at what we've got here. And first of all, the first thing I want to look at is we've got this here. We've got a printout. So as we mentioned before, looking through our How Do I Quilt It, Garla did a little homework and came up with a list of designs that she potentially wants to use for this.
Yeah.
And I printed them out. This is just a screenshot from my computer. These are a bunch of the designs that you want to use. So I think what we're going to do now is start looking at the quilt. And I know you guys are really excited to see us actually do some quilting. So let's take a look at what we've got on the frame here. Let's move this stuff out of the way. And then I think, are we using the side machine, the side camera over here? Okay. So we'll just kind of take a look at what, Garla mentioned that she made a mock-up of the quilt.
Yes.
And I love this because she's going to do all the quilting herself. No hand holding by me on the real one. But this is really fun because we get to just audition things. So instead of recreating the more intricate blocks, she just traced the shape around them.
Mhm.
And then she did have extra panel. And so we've got the panel with some of the sashing around it. We've got our borders. We're just going to be able to have some fun with this. So let's decide. The first thing I want to do is let's decide where we're going to put this batting. And we can, which batting do you want to try in which block? Because we're going to go ahead and lay extra
I
batting
don't
down
think it
across
matters
this
because we're
first
going
one.
to see the dimension that pops,
Mhm.
the definition that it gives as it goes.
Okay.
We just probably need to write down what we put where.
Yeah. And this is one of the cool things about doing this on a mock-up is because you have already sharpied like all over things, we are not even going to care. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's, the highlight's not on. You know what I just realized, you guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot to dim these lights here. Let's go like that.
Okay.
Did that fix the problem?
We move the batting. Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is flip this back, and then we're just going to go ahead and lay down this extra batting. And I don't have, the one is a smaller piece, but then the rest of them are larger pieces. So we're going to do, and we'll have these sticking up above the top a little bit so we can see them.
Okay.
We've got the
Cotton
white.
first.
Yeah, the white cotton. Then we're going to scoot this one over. And actually, you know what? We can put this one like kind of there in the middle.
Sure.
Okay. Then we've got the bamboo. Then let's do the polyester. And you know what?
Do we need to slide it back down?
Yeah, actually, we'll just slide it so that we have a little bit of more room there.
Okay.
And
Because
then
we'll
do the wool down here. at
is
the
our
bunch.
favorite.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah. But we're gonna do.
But we're going to show how it.
This is actually going to be kind of fun. And honestly, if you have some extra scraps of batting around and you've got something that you could do something like this, I think this is a really great way to just have
Make
some fun
yourself
with
some
this.
samples.
Yeah. Make yourself some samples, and then you can look at the different qualities of the fabric. And with that particular stuff below it.
We're
Okay.
going to start out with the black thread on.
Yes, we are. And I want to show you guys something here. So this is something actually to look at. I don't know if you can see if I put this up like this a little bit, but we've actually got, because this is white, from the front, I can see some of these frayed black threads showing through on the front. So that is something that, if you're going to take the time to custom quilt, take a minute to look at those things. And we're just going to make sure that those black threads are all tucked down in the right direction.
Thank you.
And that is something that after the fact, you can actually go in and use like a really fine crochet hook and stitch that stuff down, or not stitch it down, but dig it out. But I don't want to have to do that. Okay, we're just going to baste across the top of this. Normally I would do a plumb line too, but we are not. This is a practice quilt, so we're going to do it the quick and dirty way. So we're just being quick here. I am not doing a plumb line. I am just basting it down. I'm going to come over here to the edge, and then we're going to go ahead and baste down the side too, because we want to make sure that it does stay where we want it to be.
And what do you have the base set at, Kim?
I think this is set at 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch basting.
Yeah.
Now, if I was going to custom quilt this entire quilt, and if I was going to be moving to the bottom of the quilt and back up to the top of the quilt, I probably would base a little bit in the middle.
Yeah, and actually I'm going to show you how to do that. So I always, when I'm basting a quilt, I always baste across the top and the sides first.
So would you lengthen your stitch length if you're going to baste in the middle of your quilt?
You can, honestly.
Or 1/2 inch is fine.
I like to leave mine at probably 1/2 inch. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'll show you guys if I was going through and doing this for real and stabilizing the whole quilt. 1/2 inch is easy to rip out.
Okay.
And it's also long enough that it is going to stay in place.
Yeah.
If I clip it and only leave it in a couple places.
Okay.
If I am basting it, so let me just show you guys. I will baste across about every 4 inches. So I'll just baste this
Wow.
first section so you guys can see.
4 inches.
If you are going to be moving back and forth, so something that is pretty commonly happens when you are custom quilting, especially if you're going to be using different colors of thread, you will work your way all the way through the quilt with an initial color of thread, and then you'll switch when you get to the bottom and work your way back up again. This is about how close I would base this whole thing.
Okay.
It's going to keep it stabilized, and it's going to make it so that it doesn't end up with any weird wrinkles or anything like that anywhere in it. And I would be able to remove this from the machine. This is something that I know it's like totally normal for me, but not normal for most people. I will start a quilt at home.
Okay.
I will baste it. I will start quilting on it, and then I bring it into work to work on it or to film it or something like that. So I have the quilt not only basted itself, but it's actually basted to the leaders. So if we take a look at how this is attached to the leaders here, it's actually sewn, the quilting
On a domestic.
on a domestic
Yes.
machine set at the longest stitch length. So it is basted here, and that way I can take it on and off the frame. I don't have to worry about losing my placement, and I don't have to worry about pins and grabbing it and
Oh, owie.
poking myself. Yeah, exactly. So if we look across here, this is really interesting because you can already see a difference in the loft just looking
I know,
across
just
that.
from that.
So we've got our bamboo here. Oh, no, sorry. Cotton, bamboo, polyester,
And
and
wool.
wool.
So if I was to do a really intricate
Mhm.
edge to edge
Yeah.
that had a fitting process to
Mhm.
it, would it help to base the quilt first? Does that help at all?
It could potentially.
Yes.
Yeah, it really can. The more you stabilize it and hold it in place, the better it's going to go. Yep. Okay, we got another question.
Do you remove the back base stitching before quilting?
Yes.
Do we remove the basting stitching before quilting? Yes, unless I forget to.
Ah!
Sometimes you forget. I always
Okay.
try to remove it beforehand because every once in a while you'll get that stitch that actually splits the thread.
Ooh.
And those ones can be a little bit hard. So I try to remove it before I start
Okay.
stitching, which we'll show you guys.
There's
along
got
the
to
way
be a
here.
trick to taking the basting out too.
I'll
We're going to
show
learn
ya.
that today.
I'll show you.
Because I don't know how to do that.
Well, okay, and this is my question. So
Okay.
let's sit and talk about a little bit of a plan here for this first row,
Okay.
and then we're gonna start quilting. So okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up a chair again
Okay.
and sit down. So what is your plan here? Let's take a look at your
Well,
designs
So
here.
I designed it
Mhm.
by printing out each of the patterns
Mhm.
and setting them next to the quilt.
Love it.
So, and of course, as you can see in this, there's already a problem.
Mm.
Everything is curvy.
Mm.
Everything. And when I saw everything curvy here, I thought, oh, I'm already giving myself a handicap. I'm not going to like the way it turns out. So my plan was, I've got a border that's very narrow.
Mhm.
So I started out with this little lazy feather that I thought maybe would be
Yeah.
work for my border.
Absolutely.
I thought about that. Maybe,
Mhm.
maybe yes, maybe no.
Mhm.
Then I made my complicated block A. I made my panel blocks that were square, block B. So I had 2 different blocks that I was going to use, and every single one of this block was going to be this design, and every single one of this was going to be this design.
Mhm.
Again, not using too many.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I was going to do some kind of a loop-de-loop here, which was probably not going to work because it's curvy again. And I wanted to put maybe a bee pattern
Mhm.
in one of the panel blocks.
Love it.
Um,
Yeah, this one. Right.
It could be this or an edge to edge,
Mhm.
whichever.
Mhm.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
And then I was going to put something like this in my flowers.
Mhm.
And there's a honeycomb pattern that's more of a geometric that
Yes.
might be cute.
Yes.
So, and then I thought, oh, I got connections. So I went to Brienne. I said, how would you like to do like a video on custom quilting? And I'll provide the quilt.
Smart thinking.
So why not? So
Why not?
and then the other thing that's fun today is because we have this mock quilt, we can do something here and something here different and
Mhm.
something here different and something here different. And we, with you in our audience, can help me decide what we like best.
Exactly. And we can try out different thread colors.
Yeah.
We can try out different scales of design, all of these
Ooh,
different things.
yes, important.
So, okay, so this is the question. What's the first thing you
Yeah,
want to try?
where do I start? Do I start with my border and my corners, or am I going to do that last? Now that we've basted it, I can go back and do that later.
You can. You definitely can. So I can tell you this. I can tell you what my process usually is on something like this.
Okay.
So I would start with what I like to call the bones of the quilt.
Bones
so
first.
I'm going to go through and do any stitch in the ditch, which I know that you have opinions about stitch in the ditch.
Yes.
I would do any stitching like that that's going to like stabilize the quilt, and that is also stuff I'm going to do in like a blending thread. And I go through and do, and that can almost be like my stabilizing part of the quilt. As a matter of fact, sometimes if I'm doing something like that, I will actually do that, and then I won't have to base the entire quilt. I will only have to base sections of it where there's
start
no
with
quilting.
our channels.
Yes.
And our stitch in the ditch.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we could do that.
And we today could just do a little portion of that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was thinking what could be fun. Okay. So this block here is like this block here,
This one, yeah.
or this block here.
Yeah.
And so let's take a look at this and kind of talk about the anatomy of this block, because we've got a black background. We've got a lot of lighter colors in here, but at the same time, there's a lot of pattern here. So it's not necessarily going to really show some of the quilting. But then we've got this white border around it next to another set of borders around it. So we've definitely got some layers that we can dig into here with this. So for me, what I would recommend is and let's take a look here and see how Garla finished this on the back. Okay, so this is something that's interesting.
Oh, no.
She pressed all of her seams open. No, this is not a bad thing, but these are important things to know. Seams that are pressed open are not great for stitch in the ditch, because you might slip and actually be stitching over that pressed open seam. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do stitching over the top of other stitching. If you're going to be doing stitch in the ditch, you want it to be where it's folded over to the edge. So I would say on this block, we could actually go through and do some stitch in the ditch around this outside edge.
Okay. Yeah, I had planned just to make this all one block.
Okay.
Just stitch one single block in there.
Okay.
Because I thought it was busy enough that I didn't want to waste my time putting the definition here. I thought, let's build up the white portions and don't spend so much time on here.
so much time here. Okay. I'm going to recommend one step here, though, that will make this pop a little bit.
Okay.
I really love the idea of putting one block in here. And I think we should quilt it with monopoly. Okay. Because it's going to just blend into all of this. But I think we should do like a 1/4 inch or even a 1/2 inch channel. You know what? Maybe a 1/2 inch channel, because it'll line up with that.
Okay.
I think we should do stitch in the ditch and then a channel around this, and then put that block in there.
Because
it's going to create a frame for it and make it pop. And then in this part out here.
Yes.
So your blocks that you have picked for in here are pretty curvy. So I think in this block out here, or these edges out here, we need to do more of a straight line design.
Yes.
And if we do more of a straight line design in these areas here, then in these other sashing areas out here, we can go ahead and use one of these curvier designs that you picked, and it will look really good, because we've got straight lines with maybe a more dense, like maybe we'll do like a really tight piano key in here, almost like
I can't wait to see
matchstick quilting. We'll do that around it, and it will just make that pop. And one of the things to remember when you're doing custom quilting is that your eye is drawn towards the area that is not quilted.
Correct.
So that's what really pops. Do you want to grab that quilt for a second? And I want to show you guys what I mean here. So we're going to grab Karen's quilt, bring it back, then we're going to start stitching. I promise. I know this is why everybody's here. So if we look, for example, at this block right here, this is a perfect example. So Karen made this gorgeous star here. Well, the reason why you really see that star amongst all of this gorgeous straight line quilting is because the star is less densely quilted. So it really makes it pop. So we want to use this same like principle with this design here. We're going to do the looser design on the inside. Then we're going to do a really tight border, and we're going to use some of these channels to make it pop. So we're going to
can't
start
wait.
that over here
Yeah.
on this one.
Let's do some channels.
And let's make it happen. Now, okay, this is the question. I'm trying to decide what
Are we going to
thread
use?
we're going to use. You know what? I want to switch. We're going to try something here. So I want you to be able to get a little bit more of an idea of what the finished product's actually going to look like. So I want you to pick a thread for me that is like a light yellow
Yes.
or a light tan color. We're going to use something with at least a little bit of contrast so that you guys can see that a little more. But I'm not going to use black here. This is one thing. If you stitch with black on white, you're going to notice every single little itty bitty tiny imperfection.
Do you want to do a gold?
Ooh, let's do the gold.
Yes.
Let's do the gold. So
And
we're going to use this gold. That's a fantastic
Do you want to do
color.
the drawing while I rethread the machine?
Yeah,
Are
we
we
can
ready?
go ahead and do that. That is a great
We're
idea.
getting
So
excited.
if you want to, I will swap you here. You can go ahead
Yes.
and hold that back.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I think we are.
I think we're excited.
So let's go ahead. We're going to set that over there. Okay, we do. How many entries do we have? You guys, we just broke a record for the number of entries. This is amazing. How many entries did we have, Brianne? Almost 500.
Wow, 500.
Oh, you guys, wow. Thank you so much
we should
for watching.
give away 2 highlighters,
Oh my gosh. Oh
Brianne.
my gosh.
Ha, ha, ha.
So I've got a highlight to give away this morning, one highlight. So remember, if you entered with that hashtag HQB, BEE, and over 500 of you did, that's amazing. All right, as soon as I get a name here, Brianne's going to go ahead and she's going to do the little spinny thing. We're going to do a little drum roll, and we're going to give away this highlight. And don't worry, we'll ship it to you. It'll come right to your house, and you're going to be able to. So our winner is Patricia BT. Congratulations,
Wow.
Patricia. I'm so excited for
Hooray.
you. And remember, the highlight comes in lots of different sizes. What you need to do, Patricia, is email spotlight@handyquilter.com with your full name and the address you want us to ship that to. So remember, it's spotlight@handyquilter.com, Patricia BT. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching this morning. I hope you're getting some good tips this morning too. And the best part is you're going to have your highlights so that you can do some really amazing quilting down the road. Okay, so Garla's getting this all done up for us here. That's perfect.
Make sure I'm in the attention right there.
Yep, you are. Okay, Garla's got
Don't
that
miss
rethreaded.
any. Don't miss any parts.
Nope,
Don't miss any.
parts. Okay, we're going to do that. And then we're going to double check. Oh,
Isn't it?
thank you for the compliments on the hair. I don't know about the rest of you, but every once in a while, I just need a change.
Oh, it's so
and
darling.
my husband was like, "You're really gonna chop it all off?" I'm like, "Yes, I am," and I did, and I love it. It's like wash and wear. It's fantastic.
And she's got all those cute natural curls.
I know. You forget how curly your hair is until you cut it short, and you're like, "Wow."
Oh,
okay.
yeah, but turn around and show them the
Woo.
back.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at
I
that.
got lots of
It's so
curls. Lots of
perfect.
curls. My dad always makes the joke that the curlier his hair got, the more it fell out. Luckily, my hair is not falling out, but it's the curse of the youngs. Okay, so we are going to go through and stitch this out. Now, I'm going to show you guys on this first one, we're going to do this with Pro Stitcher. So I'm going to show Garla how to do it all with Pro Stitcher. We have 2 of these blocks. So we're going to stitch it out. We're going to use the Pro Stitcher design in the middle of both of them. But on the second one, I'm going to switch over and use rulers. I'm going to show you how to do it with rulers.
Are fun.
And then we're going to do some stuff with the microfoot. So we're going to do kind of 2 of the same thing. We're going to have some fun with it. So we're going to go ahead, and this is kind of fun because I've got my Pro Stitcher screen set up so that we can show you guys. I am going to use a tool called Mark. So if we take a look at the Pro Stitcher screen, hang on a second. I'm going to turn on my laser to the needle. Okay. And then we are going to be able to mark this up. So I'm going to go to the Pro Stitcher, and I'm going to turn on the record feature. And then I've got Mark over here in the sidebar. And what I'm going to do is I am going to mark out the square that is going to be the equivalent of the stitch in the ditch, which is out here, the 1/2 inch away. And then we're going to come a 1/2 inch in. We're going to do right up next to the edge. And here
So we're
I'm
gonna
actually
mark the stitch in the ditch.
going to mark, I'm going to mark the stitch in the ditch
Okay.
first. So I'm just
Yeah,
doing
I'm
in
really
the ditch
curious
here.
how many times you have to mark it.
I just mark it in each corner. Maybe I'll mark it
Ooh.
like halfway through.
Okay, you're brave.
I am. But I'm also maybe not quite as picky about stitch in the ditch as you are. Garla and I had a conversation about this. Garla, why don't you tell us about your experiences with stitch in the ditch? Do you like stitch in the ditch?
So I just started using rulers,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned that you can do very beautiful stitch in the ditch if you go very slow.
Yes.
But I've had some custom quilts done that I've had to unpick all the stitch in the ditch done because it was so poorly done.
Oh.
In fact, my last custom quilt that I had done by someone else, this was a couple years ago, I said, do not do any stitch in the ditch, because if I want stitch in the ditch, I'll put it on my domestic and do it perfect.
Back in the day. But
now I'm all good.
I'm gonna show you some tricks. So I'm using Mark, and you guys can look here on the computer screen and see my
We have a question.
initial thing that I marked out. Yes, we've got another question here.
What did you call that 1/2 inch line you're going to do in the black frame around that busy block?
Okay, so we're going to create a frame around the design, and we're going to do it with channels. That's what I call it. So channels in quilting tend to be anywhere from 1/4 inch up to 3/4 inches, or maybe even an inch apart. It's just where you leave a thin line where it is not quilted, and you're essentially creating a frame. So if you guys look here at Karen's quilt, there's a channel right here around this design. There's a channel around this design. There's a channel here between these two borders. And you see how that creates, it's part of what, it gives a stop point. It creates a frame around the designs, and it allows the designs to not run into each other. It just gives your eye like a place to rest.
And I think it's a beginner.
Oh yeah, it's super
custom.
easy.
Yes, it's a
not-
beginner method.
It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do. And the other thing is, there's no rule on the size that channels need to be. I remember the first couple times I did it, I was so concerned about making sure that they were exactly 1/4 inch. Oh, doesn't matter. Do whatever size fits with your project. So, okay, we got another question.
Back to your marking.
Mhm.
You talked about marking and making it square, and I saw you stop and move. Did you push a certain button?
Yes. So if you guys look here on the screen, I used the mark tool, which I'll put the little circle around it. It's right there. There's the mark tool. So it's under Pro Stitcher tab, then record on the ribbon, and then it's mark in the sidebar. And because now normally on your Pro Stitcher, when you hit that mark button, you're going to hear that ding. But because we have this machine plugged into the cameras, the ding, you guys don't get to hear that. You'll also notice that that mark has the little diamond above it, which means that I can use the button on my right handlebar on my Amara. I can use that on my Amara or on the Infinities. And it's really nice because I can just keep my eyes on the fabric. And when I hear that ding, I know that that was placed.
So it's basically like setting up an area.
Yeah, it is. It is. The one difference between using mark in an area, though, is if I had set this up as an area, I don't have to come back and put a last point
Oh, yeah.
right there on top of the first point to close it. When you do an area is closed, and you can do this with an area. You can set up a precise area and then set the area up and then resize it. But I'm going to show you guys the reason why I chose to use mark on this one. So if you look on the Pro Stitcher screen, you guys see that I've got a box there.
Yes.
And I have my start and stop right there on top of each other.
Yes.
Well, I want to go from there, and then I'm going to come 1/4 inch in, and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to come back and have that I'm going about 1/2 inch in. Right there is where I want to put my next mark, but I don't want to have a line that stitches through there. So I'm actually going to hit my jump button, and you guys can see that that just put a jump into there.
We're continuing the mark?
Yes, we're continuing the mark.
Oh, so we don't have to do one box
No.
and then two boxes?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is wonderful.
Now, I would not recommend going through and marking out more than one block at a time. Like I wouldn't mark this block and then mark this block and then stitch it. Marking.
I'm not that good of a piecer.
The other thing is how we talked about drawing earlier. If you mark too much of the quilt as you go across it, as you move across the quilt, you're going to lose your placement because it draws in. Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't mark more than maybe a quarter of what's in my throat space at a time, maybe even a little
Okay.
less, depending on how densely I'm quilting.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got my first point there. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to go to the next and I'm going to hit mark. And you guys can look there on the screen and see how I've got that jump right there.
Yeah.
And then I've got where it's going to stitch on that next one. Okay, and then I'm going to come down and I'm just kind of eyeballing it here because I don't actually have piecing to line it up with on this
I
one, but
could
that's okay.
take and mark it
Yes,
with a
Well-
water-soluble pen.
you can, but the thing is, Garla, when you're doing this on your quilt yourself,
I'm going to
you
see it.
have registration marks.
Yes.
You have places because of the piecing.
Yeah.
So, and because of the way we're doing this, I'm not worried about super accuracy, because we're
This is a
just
play
trying
quilt.
it out. Yeah,
We're
exactly.
having a play quilt.
That's exactly.
This is play dates for adults.
This really is. Here's another tip. If you guys take a look at the screen, when I'm coming back and I'm closing this up, I will often zoom in so that I can make sure that I'm dropping that last point right on top of where I started
There we go.
so that it is closed. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys can see that I've got like that double frame there. I am going to baseline this and then we're going to go to quilt and we're going to go ahead and stitch this out. Okay, I'm going to turn off my pull-up auto. I'm going to go check my OptiStitch.
Okay,
We're
where are
going
we
to slow
setting
this
it at?
down. I am going to slow this down to maybe 25% acceleration,
Okay.
and we're going to slow my speed down to maybe like 50% on this.
Okay.
Remember what I said about custom quilting. It is not fast.
Yes.
I want to slow down
Okay.
and just enjoy the process. So
Now, do we have to slow the motor down as well up
Nope.
there?
Nope.
Just these two
Yep.
are
Yep.
okay.
And it is going to stitch this in the order that I
Through it.
drew it. And the thing is, this is going slow enough that I can go through and do a little bit of manipulation if I need to hold things in place. You see that,
It's
Garla?
going pretty fast, if you want my opinion.
Yeah, and we can slow it down. And you guys can see that I am. We're getting some
Ooh, I
pretty
love the
good.
color though.
Oh, and I just realized I forgot to take my
Basting out.
basting out.
That's
so
okay
I'll
because
show you guys.
it's
Yeah.
a play quilt.
Now you guys see that it just went ahead and jumped there, and now it's going to go ahead and stitch the second part here. And we're creating that channel around the block. Isn't that cool?
That's our negative space.
Yes.
Creating a channel.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
Yeah,
But it's adding a lot
of impact.
when we put it up on the quilt.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. And look at how great that looks.
Okay, what's our stitch length at, Kim?
So I had my stitches per inch set at 12.
12. Okay.
Yep.
12 it is.
So, and it's honestly the only reason why it's at 12 is because is what it was set at before. So, although honestly, with custom quilting, I usually tend to set my custom quilting at maybe a little bit of a tighter
Yes.
stitches per inch because I tend to do smaller quilting. So custom quilting, I'm probably anywhere from like 12 to 14 stitches per inch.
Okay.
So, okay, so we've created this frame around it. Looks pretty good. Let me show you guys how I take out basting stitches. So I just use my scissors that I normally cut with, and I'll come in and I just do this, and you rip out a couple of stitches, and then you can pull up from the bottom and you can clip your bobbin thread. And then I'll get to the end here and I'll go like this. And the last one, because I don't want to unpick this one over here because I want to keep it stabilized.
Okay.
I'll get it to where, and I've got my bobbin thread is actually white here, and I'll clip that and leave those top two there.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and once again, I'll clip it, rip out a few of them,
Okay, so this would be
pull it from the bottom.
stitched on black. This channel stitching we're doing in
Yes.
black.
Yes.
Would we want to match the black as we stitched?
So,
Or would we want to use some monofilament at that point as well?
so for ease of just not having to switch as often,
Okay.
I would use monofilament on all of it.
So this whole block we're going to plan as monofilament.
I would, but you know what? If you wanted to go through this whole thing, because a lot of your channel stitching is going to be done on the darker
Yes.
colored here, you could actually go through and do it all with black and then switch your thread and do the next
Perfect. We have a
one.
question.
Okay, we have a question.
Does the machine place a locking stitch after the jump so it doesn't unravel?
Does the machine do a tie off after that jump? Absolutely. If you have it set up, which I do, if you guys look here on the screen, so under the settings tab and then tie offs, I make sure that my tie offs are on over here. I've got 5 and I can even turn that up to 6 if I want an extra one. And I'm using the micro, which means it does little tiny stitches right next to each other. That's my preferred method.
This is a
And I
good
have start and
screen.
end on. Yeah, so if you're not sure where to do that on your post stitcher, that's where it is.
Take a screenshot, ladies,
Absolutely.
gentlemen.
Yes, quilters. One of the things too, if you are using, say for example, a computerized system that doesn't have tie-offs in it, or your tie-offs aren't working for whatever reason, what you can do is that half stitch button that's on your left handlebar, the one that's got an arrow pointing up and arrow pointing down, before you start stitching, you can bring your bobbin thread up from the bottom and then hold on to it. And then you can just cycle that a couple of times, moving the machine just a little bit, and it will create that locked stitch for you.
Shauna does that when she bastes.
Yes, exactly. And it just locks that stitch in place. It's like back stitching. Just holds it there. Okay, so we've got our channel. That looks pretty good.
I'm loving it.
What we need to do now is let's go ahead and put your block in the center. So let's choose which block. And we're going to go ahead and leave that frame up there so that you guys can see that channel that we just stitched. And let's get a file design open.
Bring in our pattern.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. We're still going to set up an area, but this way you guys can see on the screen what we're working with. So which block do you want to put in this one? Did you want to do?
I was doing the more complicated
one. Okay.
That was my plan. So we take a
fanfare.
vote.
Let's, you know what? I say, let's do the more complicated one in this one. And then we'll do the simpler one here. And then you get to audition both.
Side.
Yep. Yes. Question. So the question is it the machine doing the tie-off or the software? It's the software that's doing the tie-off. We have this programmed. I'll show you again when we start stitching in just a second. I have my tie-offs turned on, so we'll show you that. Okay, what we need to do is, you guys, it's probably kind of hard for you to see, but this design came in really big at 20 inches. And the design that, like our block that we did behind this, our freehand design is a 10-inch block. So we definitely need to do some resizing here. So the easiest way to do this is to go through and set up an area. So I am going to bring this okay, when I place something like this inside of a stitch line that I've just done, what I like to do is come a couple of threads in. So
just 2 threads?
2, maybe 3 threads in.
3 threads in.
So I'm just coming in just a little bit because I don't want it to stitch over.
You don't want it to go out of its boundaries.
Exactly. And I'm going to do a multi-point, and I'm going to do one in each of the 4 corners. And I'm coming in just a little bit. So it's not quite going to touch that edge, which is exactly what we want.
Okay.
So if we actually zoom in there, you guys can actually see that it's just slightly inside of the frame that I just stitched, okay? Then we're gonna go to modify and skew, and we're gonna skew that design in. Beautiful. Doesn't that look great?
Perfect.
It's perfect. We're gonna baseline it, and then we're gonna go ahead and stitch this out. And this is something that Garla asked me about earlier. She's like, how do I know how long it's gonna take to stitch something out? So let me show you guys this on the screen. If I go to the settings tab, and this is in Pro Stitcher Premium, and then on the ribbon, I choose Stitch Stats. It pops up right there on the screen, and it tells me how long it is going to take to stitch out this design. At the speed that I have this set at, and the number of stitches per inch, it's going to take 8.5, just almost 9 minutes to stitch out.
Yeah,
it's going to take a little while, but that's okay. We got time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody will be patient with me.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We can answer some more questions. So if you guys have got some questions, we can answer them while this is stitching out. And you can see that it's 355 inches of thread. So this is going to be pretty dense. This is actually going to be really good for you to see the difference in density of these 2 designs.
Yeah, it might be too dense.
To decide, if you want it this way. Okay. So let's go to Pro Stitcher tab, and then let's look over here. So Pro Stitcher tab, quilt on the ribbon. And then over here in the sidebar, I've got my tie-offs. We're turning on my tie-offs. Do you see that start and end?
Yes.
So it is going to do that tie-off. So let's go ahead and we're going to do this and let this move over and stitch. And we're going to let this go ahead and run. we're going to let this stitch out. And I'm just playing a little bit of thread chicken there.
And we're going to do it with this
Gold.
Magnifico. It's 2070. So
It's
that you
beautiful.
can see it run.
Yeah, you can really see this. And it's going to be fun to see too how this lines up with the piecing. So what Garla has drawn on here, everything outside of this black line is black. And to the edge of where we did this outside stitching. And then the inside is the lighter color of this block. So this is something for you to look at too.
So I'm really thinking that it will be effective to do it in the clear thread, because with the clear thread, even though that the pattern doesn't exactly match the pattern of my quilt block, it will add the texture that I want, and it won't overwhelm my quilt block, but I think it's going to look great.
So we're going to sit and watch this stitch out. This is gorgeous.
Question.
Okay, so we've got a question. Go ahead.
You talked about being able to see the specs, the stitch specs, the Pro Stitcher Premium. Is it also in Pro Stitcher Lite?
So the stitch stats is something that is a Pro Stitcher Premium only feature. It's one of those things. Pro Stitcher Lite is a simpler version. It doesn't have quite as many perks. So not available in Pro Stitcher Lite.
So when I started this project, I even just drew a grid of my quilt and started calling them A and B patterns. And then I went on to Pro Stitcher and I just started printing out patterns. And I said, okay, this is going to be my pattern A.
I love it.
And then I thought, well, I got to have some geometric.
Yeah.
So then I went with the...
I love this one is such a good example because it shows this little black line right there is the actual design. But when you repeat it edge to edge, it does make that honeycomb, which we got to use this somewhere in this.
Yeah, we got to find a place for that. I had that put, let's see, where did I decide to put that? But anyway, that's what I started with. And I knew that I needed different densities. So that's why I went with this block versus this block. This one is called Delicious Fanfare Large Block 2. This is a Pro Stitcher membership pattern.
This one is too.
Delicious Fanfare Block 2.
So the large version and the small version.
So they match, but I think they had enough contrast. That's why I went with both of them. So if you're not familiar with Pro Stitcher membership, it is really a great way to create your arsenal.
Oh yeah,
your inventory, your toolbox, whatever you want to call
library
of all your patterns. And one great thing about Pro Stitcher membership is for one membership, often you can get up to 20 or 25 patterns when you buy it in a bundle. And there's some great ones. Some of the ones that I love the most are the background mixers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's a really great way to start.
And we have some of those that we'll be able to show you some of those designs for sure.
So you can get 2 Pro Stitcher patterns, which means you can get 2 bundles. And that's a great way to start your library out.
It really is.
Yeah. And you go to prostitcher.com to do that.
Yep. Okay, we've got another question. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, when to use the mark and when to use area. So an area is what we set up if we're going to use some of the tools to resize a design to fit a space perfectly. So if I want to use skew especially, setting up an area is what we want to do. And in an area, once you put a third point at setting it up, it becomes a closed shape. So you don't have to go back and close that shape again. The difference with mark is like stitching with a straight ruler is the way that I like to think of it.
Yes.
So mark, I can start at the top corner and I can mark the next corner and the next corner and the next corner. But to close that shape, I have to go back and put a point where I first started. You have to drop a point there. So mark is drawing a straight line design. It's really great for stitching the ditch. It's great for creating these channels. Another thing that we actually could have done here is created that first outside one, and then I could have went in and duplicated it and just made it smaller to sit
Yes.
inside the other one. So the other thing that's cool about Mark is you can go in and you can duplicate them, you can edit them, you can save them, you can do all of those things and use them again. So it's a great way to recreate things. So the simplest thing to remember is Mark is creating a straight line design. An area is what we use to set an area is what we use to create a space to make a design fit perfectly in it.
Yes.
So
And just remember, record, mark.
yes.
So it's you're recording exactly where your needle is going to start stitching
Yes.
that pattern.
That's a great way of thinking of it. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I have entire quilts that I've done the entire thing with Mark, where I've done a lot of stitch in the ditch. I've done a lot of channels, and I do it all with Mark. And like I mentioned earlier, I absolutely go through and only do a small section of a quilt at a time. But Mark is really great because if you are somebody like me who doesn't necessarily love to pull out a ruler,
Oh,
you
right.
can just set it up and stitch it out.
Right. It's the cheater way.
It's the work smarter, not harder with
Oh,
a pro stitcher way.
Work smarter, not harder.
There we go. There
Okay.
we go.
Right. Because if you're only doing one little spot.
Yeah. Exactly. If you're only doing one little spot, that's what works. The what?
Oh, we've got our purple,
My-
her water bottle.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. I got some questions about this. You guys keep seeing me grab this. My purple Stanley look-alike. If you would like one of these, they are available on the Handy Quilter website. I hear that there's holidays coming up soon, and who doesn't need some awesome merch?
Yeah,
This is definitely a great thing to get. I love this. I'll do my little spiel. I fill it up in the morning and I make sure I drink it all the way by lunchtime, and then I fill it up in the afternoon and drink it all. And that way I get plenty to drink every day. But yeah, I love it. And I put ice in this in the morning and it stays throughout the entire day, which is really great.
We love that new technology.
We do. We really do. So yeah, absolutely. You can go to handyquilter.com to pick these up. They are, I'm guessing Brianna will probably put a link in the comments. Yep, she's giving me a thumbs up. She's already doing it. And it does come with a straw, but it has a little flippy lid. And so if you prefer not to use the straw, you can just flip the thing around and drink out of it. So it's really great. And it fits in a cup holder.
And it's
in your
purple.
car. It is. It's purple. It's Handy Quilter purple. It's so fantastic.
Okay. I'm not noticing much difference between the cotton and the bamboo here
Yeah.
in texture.
Oh, we
They're
really aren't.
about the
Yeah.
same.
Well, they're not. Neither one of those are batting that has a ton of loft to it.
But it's better than one layer by itself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is an absolutely gorgeous design. I think the question to ask yourself is, this is taken a bit of time to quilt out.
Yeah. So we're not going to do it again today.
Is this, well, this is this is one of the things that you will answer when you get home. And I think it's going to be really interesting to have the two quilted out side by side to be able to decide, is it worth it to do all of this intricate quilting in this? Or would it be better to do the one that's a little bit faster? And it's something we're going to be able to do after we get the other one stitched out.
And we might find something else we like better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. This stitched out beautifully though. And if we're stitching this out, okay, so we really see the quilting in this one, and we see how it extends just beyond the edges of what the design would be. So it's going to go out into the black. I would recommend,
let's move it in.
that if you, except
Maybe?
that I would recommend if you stitch this, go ahead and stitch it like that, but use the monopoly.
Oh yeah, we're definitely monopoly all the way. It's a plan.
Yep.
Definitely,
Monopoly.
we've decided that.
So the thing that I would recommend we do next on this one to really make it pop is we're going to do another border. So we have another frame around this out here. So let's go in, and I think we should do something that's very straight.
I agree.
So let's do some piano keys in here, shall we?
No
Okay.
clue how to do that.
Okay.
This is
Let's
all
go in.
brand new to me.
So let's go to the area, and we're going to clear our area because remember, you can only have one area set up at a time. And we're going to go through and do some piano keys. Okay. First of all, we're going to go in here and we're going to pick what we want to do. I'm trying to remember. So we're going to go to the designs folder,
Oh, this is going to be included on our Pro Stitcher
On
design.
Pro Stitcher Premium, yeah. And I want to
Okay.
come here. So the Susan Manry folder, if I go to piano keys here, she's got some really fun piano keys.
Okay.
So I just want to show you guys these. I want to use just traditional piano keys on this, but this is a fun thing for you guys to know. If you're using, if you like piano keys, or the idea of piano keys, isn't this fun? Because look at all of the fun variations we
And
have.
look, there's no overstitching.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to open up this one that is a traditional piano keys.
Okay.
And we've got a fair amount of space there. I think we're actually going to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to show you guys. Now, one of the things is deciding how we're going to treat the corners here. And we're going to do this one the quick and dirty way.
Quick
Okay?
and dirty.
Quick and dirty. So
Because
what-
we're efficient quilters.
we're efficient quilters. What we're going to do, because the way that the piecing is, it goes like this, and then we have these insets
Yes.
here. So we're going to quilt across the top and the bottom first,
Okay.
and then we're going to go back and fill in
I
these
think
sides.
that's fine.
And we're not even going to worry about wrapping the corners.
I don't think it's going to make a big enough impact to do like something on the diagonal on the corners.
I totally agree with you, especially in this small space. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to set up an area
Of just that top.
of just this top here, and I'm
Oh, I
going to
love
drop
this.
a point every, I don't know, 3 inches or so.
And what are we learning? It's not hard.
No, it's not.
This
it is
not hard.
It is not hard.
Okay, so she's doing about 4.
Yeah, I'm doing about 4
dropping
across.
4 points.
Okay,
there.
and one thing to note, if I was stitching this all with a blending thread, everything will just blend in, which is
Okay.
what I would actually recommend
So
doing
we're
on
gonna-
your quilt.
We're going to
but
do
we're
off
gonna-
white in this
we're
section
gonna-
here.
We're going to leave this gold thread on here
Yes,
because
of
I think
course,
it's
so the
pretty easy
camera
for
can
you guys
see it.
to see. Yeah.
Yes.
But we're going to have some fun with repeating this. So let's go to repeat, and we're going to put stretch in here, and then I'm going to go to vertical and do stretch. And then we're going to start adding, oops, no repeat on vertical. We're going to do horizontal. And we're going to start adding here. I'm going to add a bunch of those, and then I'm going to hit stretch again, and we're going to zoom in so that we can really see. Do you see how nice and tight we've got those together?
Okay. I
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Now, one of the things I want you guys to notice is there's some parts where the design is just a little bit taller, but we set this area up so it precisely fits, which is what we want. So
Right?
what we're going to do is we're going to baseline this the way it is.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to baseline it. Then we're going to go into modify and use crop, and we're going to crop outside. Now we have a ton of start and stops now. We are going to close our edges on this one
Okay.
because we're not going to get over stitching, because this stitch is down and it goes over a little bit and then it goes back up and over a little bit and back down. So this is one of those where we want to close edges. We don't have to worry about over stitching.
Okay. How can we see that on here? Do we turn off our
Yep.
pink area?
So if we go to view and
And
we
turn
turn off the area, you
Oh,
can see
there
what
you
is
can see
actually
it.
going to stitch.
we
so
love it.
We do. It looks really great.
And so we'd pick a color like this.
Yes. That
to
would,
go.
or even use that monopoly if you wanted to. I'll show
We
you
do-
guys. I'll show you guys how to do the resizing of the keys again
In the bottom.
on the bottom one
We're
again.
going to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. So I want to be able to stitch this out before we have lunch. So we're going to go to quilt and run, and it is going to go ahead and
Our baseline was not lit up.
actually, I don't want to baseline, and I'm
Oh,
going to show you guys
Okay,
why.
we're not baselining.
Because we're going to move this
To the
to
next
the
spot?
next spot.
Okay, did
And
you
I
hear
don't
that?
want it
A
baseline.
reason not to baseline.
Yep.
It's a first.
So we're just going to go through and we're going to get this tiny, tiny little stitching here. And this is where you guys are going to see why I would recommend using a monopoly or something like that, because it is just going to blend.
Yeah, we just want the texture showing here.
Yep.
But look at the contrast. Look at the difference between our swirls and
Mhm.
our curves,
Mhm.
and now what's coming out with our lines. Love
And
it. I'm
leaving the channel
yes,
so that
and
there's
leaving the channel.
separation between the two designs. It really makes a difference. Yep.
Wow,
So you guys could see that there.
that is impressive.
Yep. And this, I'll show you guys after lunch. This is actually a really easy thing to do with a ruler. So those of you that are not Pro Stitcher quilters, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to do the same kind of a border around the outside of the other block. So this is kind of when a pro stitcher is a little mesmerizing to just sit and watch.
Yeah. Makes us happy,
Yep.
doesn't it? Especially when it's doing the right thing.
Exactly. So one of the things to note here is how we're getting a nice finish line along this
Love
inside
it.
edge, because we already have that channel there, but up here we don't have that finish line. So just know that we're probably going to want to go back and do some stitch in the ditch there to kind of
Okay.
clear up all those edges.
Okay. It depends what we decide to put
Uh-huh.
in our border. Up
Well,
there.
and it also depends. It's up to you, Garla, like if you want to have that stitch in the ditch or not. No, it really does.
It's not necessary.
It's not, if you don't want it, don't take the time to do it. If you
Okay.
want it, take the time to do it.
Yes.
Once again, you get to be the boss of your
And
quilt.
now that I'm seeing these lines here, this is not scaring me as much.
Yeah.
Putting my little folk art.
Yeah, do you
in
see
there.
how putting something curvy out here is
It's
actually
gonna
going to
be
look really cool
fine
because
now.
it breaks up the two.
Yes, it's going to work.
Isn't that cool?
That
Yep.
is perfect.
We could even do another little channel out here if we wanted to. We can experiment
could
with that a
do
little
that.
bit. Yep. Okay, so I will show you guys again. Let's go back to the screen here, and I'm going to go in and I'm just going to clear the area.
Okay, so she's cleared the area.
And we're going to go ahead and just leave that design there, and we'll repeat that because we had a request to do that again.
Okay.
So we're going to come down here to the area, and once again, I'm going to set up an area that's all the way across the bottom here. So I'm just
And you're going exactly on the seam,
I'm
correct?
trying to, yeah. I'm
She's
trying
doing
to be
exactly on the seam. We're
trying
not
to be
bumping it down a little.
nice and close there. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And doing right over to there, coming down there. And I'm trying to land in the ditch.
And that's what's so great about our laser light.
It is. It really, really is. Okay. So you guys can see my area there at the bottom of the screen. And I'm going to go over to File and Design. And the design that I just opened is the first one here. So I don't have to open up the that thing again, which is really nice. Okay. We're going to go in here. There's my area. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to repeat, and I'll go through and show you guys this repeat again. Okay. So I'm going to go horizontal. Actually, what I'm going to do is modify, and I'm going to align my design there so you guys can see it. There's my design there on the center of my area.
Okay, we have a problem though. We're matching the one we did at the top.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll show you in just a second
Okay.
how to go back and do that. Okay.
Because that would be me. Oh no, what
Yeah.
did I just do?
What I would actually do is just pop the other one down, but because people requested and they want to see me do this again, and you
Okay.
know what? We're
It's
actually,
a challenge.
well, I'm going to put this out there too. This is a quilt where we're trying things out. So we're
We're
going to
trying
do
things out.
We're going to do a little bit of a different density on this one so you can look at it and see which density you like
yes,
better.
we
How's that?
are.
Okay.
We're gonna see.
So we only need to repeat horizontally. So I'm going to repeat, give me a number, Garla. How many times should I repeat this?
That many.
7. We're going to do 7 times. Then I'm going to hit stretch.
Okay.
You guys see, I hit that stretch button there and it actually shrunk it so that horizontally it is exactly the width of my area.
Okay.
Then I'm going to come up here and touch vertical, and I'm going to touch stretch again. And it just made it the vertical height of the area.
So we've stretched it horizontally and now we've
Yes.
stretched it vertically, but we still have a problem
Yes.
because it's outside
It's
our area.
outside the area. Now, there's a couple of different things that we can do here. We are doing this now with modify. We're going to use crop because this is what we did before. We're going to crop outside. And you can see that it actually made some of the things completely disappear,
Ruh-roh.
which we don't want. So we're going to say no crop. So I'm going to show you guys a different way to do it this time. We're actually going to go in and use skew, and we're going to use border skew, which is what this is for. And look at that.
That's my favorite.
It filled it
Border
perfectly.
skew
Yep.
is brilliant.
It really is.
Those engineers knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
They
now
did
let's
such a good
look.
job.
Have we got some diversity here from the top and the bottom, or are we the same?
Let's look. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can look at the difference.
Oh, we lost the top.
Our
We-
top one. Well, yeah, that's right, because we took it away. I think we're actually a little, I think I did 9 or 10 repeats on the first
Okay,
one. So
so
I think
we're a
we're
little
less
looser.
dense.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and stitch this out and see, because that's what we're doing. We're just experimenting anyway. And we will see what happens here. Then we'll fill in the 2 sides. And then we have one block done this morning. This is pretty cool. It's a great way for you guys to see. Yeah, I think it's a little, yeah, it's not quite as dense as what we did on the top one.
Which one are we liking better? We don't know
I don't
yet.
know, Garla, you tell me.
I don't know.
You're the one that gets to make that call because this is your quilt. You're the boss of this quilt. I'm not.
I am the boss. Queen for the day.
That's right.
I'm kind of leaning towards more
Tighter?
the tighter
Okay.
because I really love this design,
Mhm.
the lazy feathers.
Yeah.
And so I really want to add that. And the tighter that I have,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The more it's going to pop.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm thinking, and you know what, we'll do this when we come back after lunch, but I'm thinking we actually want to do, I think we maybe want to do a little bit of a channel around at least this outside edge.
oh, absolutely. We want to
To
channel
really-
out there.
To really make it pop.
Maybe a 1/4 inch instead of the half
Mhm,
inch.
mhm. Yeah, vary it. So, you know, you guys, this has been so much fun this morning.
Wow, I hope you've learned as much as I have.
I know we've had a fun giveaway. We've done a lot of cool stuff. Don't forget about our fantastic pricing right now. We've got our Houston promo prices going on, which is so exciting. It's always our best prices of the year. Don't forget that this recording is going to be available on the Handy Quilter YouTube channel later. So if you want to be able to go back and watch this later, you've got your own custom quilting that you want to, be sure to, you'll be able to check that out on the Handy Quilter YouTube channel. Be sure to email hqcares@handyquilter.com if you're interested in our trade up program, which is something pretty cool. We've been doing this last year. So if you're a current machine owner, but maybe you've had your machine for quite a while and you're ready for something new, you want to trade up to an Amara, be sure and give us a shout out there at the email, and we will send you information and connect you with a local retailer and the right person to help you with that. And we're going to be announcing our giveaway later today. So we're going to take a break now for about an hour. I don't know about you guys, but I need to eat something to keep myself fueled for
That's
quilting.
right, because I'm high maintenance.
I know. Well, me too. Me too. If I don't get some fuel in me, I am not quilting all afternoon, and we're going to be quilting all afternoon. So be sure to come back at 1 p.m. Eastern, or not Eastern, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We're here in the mountains in Salt Lake City. Be sure to come back at 1 p.m. Mountain Time and join us again. We're going to be doing a bunch more quilting this afternoon. We're going to keep working our way through this. And we're also going to be giving away that Stitch 310, a domestic sewing machine, and a Moxie long arm, which will include a frame. So be sure and join us after lunch. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you this afternoon.